most socialists, I think, the ones who have not really thought it through, I'm not talking about the diehard, well, at least most diehards. I'm talking about the people who are in it because they see a system, they were born, and maybe their first memory is September 11th. And they remember the carnage and the chaos, and, it had stuff to do about big war machines, and it was about oil and money, and my dad might have lost his job, or the stock market shut down and it was scary. Then my next big memory is 2008. And my mom and dad lost everything that they had worked hard for and had to start all over again. And then coronavirus hit and they lost everything. This system doesn't work. This system is only rewarding the really powerful and the rich.
You can feel there's a certain excitement right now from AOC and Ilhan Omar, and you also have Elizabeth Warren, who's been a little more quiet during this, and Bernie. Those are the four on the cover. But with AOC and Ilhan Omar, there's a real frothing at the mouth, a real excitement right now. Like, see, none of it works. This is AOC had this tweet about late stage capitalism, showing people in lines at supermarkets in San Antonio. What she always fails to add is that, our stores still get restocked, unlike in socialist countries.
Yeah.
And that, as you said before, it's messy. Nothing in a free society is absolutely perfect. But yes, I do see that. The mask is dropping now. And so that leads me to, are they really just communists, actually, that the next mask that drops is the socialist mask, meaning that they won't even have to do it through the system?
No, so this is something that I clear up in the first chapter of the book. Communism is not the bad one. If you actually look at the theories of Marx, communism is the utopia. We've switched these. It was the Soviet Socialist Republic. Okay, it's the socialist side that is the scary side. The communism only happens when we all live in a happy commune and we're all saying, oh, you know what? I'll give you my stuff. Don't worry about it. And there's no big boss. There's no guns because you don't need it because everyone has come to this communist or commune idea, and we all want to be there. So communism is the utopia. Socialism is the step between when you have capitalists and then you have the people who say, I want this utopia. It's this middle part. Well, you're going to have to do something to convince these people who like capitalism that you want to be over here. And so you slowly drag them in piece by piece. And then at some point, you just have to shoot all the other people that don't agree with it so we can get to the happy place.
Right.
So
this is what they're
not communists. They are brutal socialists that are willing to kill, willing to do whatever it takes because the ends justify the means.
I mean, this is what I keep describing as this is Thanos from the Avengers movies. What did he have to do? He had to wipe out half the people in the universe to create the utopia. And as he said, I'm the good guy because I was the only one brave enough to do it.
And can I ask you something, Dave? You live in Hollywood. Do these people even watch some of the stuff that they make? Especially when it comes to Marvel, I watch these things and I'm like, right? I mean, it's not just me, right? You're seeing that this is making the freedom kind of message here. It's kind of making all of the conservative or the libertarian point here, right? I don't. Do they read? I should just leave it at that. Do they read?
Well, you know what? I think you know this as someone that's been around the block. A lot of the people here in Hollywood, which is very much changing right now. And I think after Corona, the idea of celebrity and these big budget things, I think this is all going to change. But most of these people privately, of course, they're capitalists and more libertarian-minded and everything else. They push nonsense and a confused message, while in their own lives, what do they want to do more than anything else? They want to be free. They want to earn their money. They want to spend it freely, but they push a message to everybody else. It's like most of our politicians. That's just counter to everything that the way they actually act. Can you believe it, Glenn? Can you actually believe that?
It's amazing. I have talked to some studio heads So these are the big bosses, and they are definitely capitalists. And they said, if Bernie Sanders is the guy, all of us are going to be voting for Donald Trump. We'll never say that because all the actors and actresses, they all believe in this crap, but they'll kill this industry. He would kill this industry. And so I know there are some capitalists out there. They're not libertarians or conservatives, but they do like their money, and they know what socialism does.
Exactly. All right. So if you're going to argue with a socialist, I'm going to ask you probably the number one question that I get asked when I go to college campuses, which is, how do you even initiate the conversation? Not if you're Glenn Beck, right? Not if you're Dave Rubin, but if you're a young kid on a college campus and the terrible ideas that you write about here are taking root and many of your friends have subscribed to them, and you just want to talk to them about freedom a little bit, some of this, but they are automatically going to call you a Nazi and a racist and all of that stuff. What is a trick? Have you learned any tricks throughout this that would allow the conversation to even get to an argument?
Yes. So that was a keyword, Dave, trick. It cannot be a trick. It cannot be a smooth move. Let me put this in. I know you're agnostic, are you an atheist or an agnostic?
Glenn, you're going to really enjoy this other book I have sitting here because I'm going to talk about some things in a new way. I would say,
all right.
Yeah,
well,
I would say I'm a functional believer. I would say at this point, sort of in the Jordan Peterson sense of it.
Okay, good.
Good for you.
Good for you. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just talk to you here about Jesus for a second. And one thing that I don't like about Christian church, let me just take on my church. We have missionaries that go out, and I don't mind the idea of missionaries and, talking to people about things. But what bothers me is, how do we get people to talk about Jesus? How do we get people to get closer to baptism? I don't know. That sounds icky. How about we love people and we listen to people and we seek out what they are looking for in their life? What are they seeking? Most socialists, I think, the ones who have not really thought it through. I'm not talking about the diehard. Well, at least most diehards. I'm talking about the people who are in it because they see a system. They were born, and maybe their first memory is September 11th, and they remember the carnage and the chaos, and it had stuff to do about big war machines, and it was about oil and money, and my dad might have lost his job, or the stock market shut down, and it was scary. Then my next big memory is 2008, and my mom and dad lost everything that they had worked hard for and had to start all over again. And then coronavirus hit, and they lost everything. This system doesn't work. This system is only rewarding the really powerful and the rich. My folks struggled, and I don't want to live my life like my folks did, believing in this nonsense. That, if I heard somebody talk to me about that, I could relate to them, and I would agree with almost everything they just said. Now we can have a conversation, because instead of approaching them and trying to win the argument, I'm trying to ask them questions to get to understand their perspective. How did they get there? Don't talk to me about systems. How did you get here? What are you really looking for? And if you're looking for the workers of the world unite, I move on. Right. If you're looking to find a better way to live in harmony, live some natural principles, live in ways that will actually work, and I don't see this system as working. Okay, great. I'm with you. So now what are the problems? Let's separate the baby from the bathwater. Is there a baby in that bathwater? I think there is. You may not. So let's define what that baby is and separate it from the bathwater.
Yeah, I guess the only problem there is that, well, of course it makes sense, but I guess the only flaw, unfortunately, is that we have just so many young people that talk about workers of the world unite, or just the evil patriarchy, or just the simple versions, as opposed to a complex human version of understandable things that you just laid out there, that it makes that conversation just hard to have.
Well, it makes it hard to have in a crowd.
Yeah.
But nothing is ever really solved in a crowd.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.